Alright guys, so what I'm going to be talking about here is knockout mode. And the difference between these and stand and bang and the other modes available is that with this mode, you can actually choose to have a health bar instead of having your stamina and your head and your chest and legs separate bars. And you don't really know when you're gonna get a knockout when you're playing the regular UFC modes that are available, you know, the ones that are traditionally used in this game. And for the purpose of realism, that is great because it's more like what would happen in a real fight. You really don't know which of your kicks or punches are going to actually knock your opponent out. But with that said, if you love the old school fighting game style or the Street Fighters and the Mortal Kombats and all the games that have health bars, then you are going to love this mode for sure, because you can regenerate your stamina in this mode, but you can't regenerate your health at all. So what that means is that when your health bar is depleted, when you only have a little bit of a chunk left, whatever your opponent does to hit you, even if he hits you with a low kick and you're not checking it, or if he throws a jab and you're not guarding against it, then you're gonna get knocked out, regardless of what you are trying to do, regardless of how much you try to avoid being hit. The fact that you have a health bar makes it completely different. And the strategies that you're going to implement into your fighting because of that health bar are actually going to be quite different as well. So this mode, I know that this mode is really not what the purists of UFC games are looking for, but if you are like me, a person that really enjoys Street Fighter games and Mortal Kombat games, then this mode is exactly what you want. I know a lot of people have it against Tito, but you know, you can't deny that Tito was the first really big superstar for the UFC, and UFC wouldn't be where it is now if it weren't for Tito Ortiz. So, you know, to be putting him down for his attitude and his personality, it really makes no sense. As far as fighting goes, he did bring the UFC to a whole new level, you know, about entertainment, especially with the Shamrock trilogy. I thought those were really the coolest fights in terms of hype, because I know with Chuck it was really cool as well, really good. But I think that the pinnacle of the whole trash talk thing and the feud between Tito and Ken Shamrock was just a little bit more epic than what it was with Ortiz and Liddell. Okay, so this guy was beating me up with Cormier. He did a great job, and as you can see here, you can actually leave a message. So I said nice because he did a great job. You know, and you're kind of encouraging sportsmanship in this game. So if you have nothing good to say, you can't say anything at all, which is a good thing. I think the way the developers did this was a good move, because you're supposed to be enjoying the game and not really going to the toxic part of it, which the way they laid it out, the way they made it, it doesn't really allow for much toxicity. So that's good. It's a good change of pace from what I have to experience and what I deal to other people in MK11, because there's a lot of teabagging, a lot of humiliating going on in MK11. But here I feel that it's, like I said, it's refreshing. It's a completely different type of game, but those health bars being part of the game really change their strategies, because it's not like the regular fighting in this type of game where you don't really know which hit is gonna knock your opponent out. Here you do know when he's about to go down, and your strategy has to change according to that. Here, for example, you can see that I'm about to get beat up, and I'm trying to just get him and catch him, but it wasn't gonna happen. So he got me good. This fight was one of my first fights online. He said, "Great fight. You know, very respectful player, really enjoyed this fight." So I said rematch because I thought it was definitely worth rematching. I was going to change my character, and I was going to switch to Liddell because I feel that he's a better striker. So I'm going to try it like that. And one thing with the online, as you're gonna see right now, now that we're rematching, the system decides the arena and the style still within knockout mode, but we went into Kumite, which is my favorite. You know, I prefer Kumite, and I switched to Liddell, and he switched to John Jones. So, but this one was for Kumite. As you're gonna see, just randomly changes the arena, and you can't really select the one that you want, but it's gonna be a mixed bag, so it's good. Sometimes it's gonna be backyard, sometimes it's gonna be Kumite, sometimes it's gonna be the UFC. So it's good. I think it's a good way to do it. So this fight was very interesting because I feel that the speed in Chuck's hands is way faster than Tito's, of course. But John Jones has incredible reach, so you have to be very careful with the way that you fight John Jones. You have to keep your distance. You have to really time your punches. So Kumite is just way better for me. I mean, the UFC mode is great, but I just love the feel of the Kumite with the ropes instead of gloves, and the entire blood sports kickboxer thing going on. I just really like this mode, and having health bars, like I said, it just changes the dynamic of the fight, and the way you fight, the way you distribute your punches. So all you have is, as you can see up there, is your health bar and your stamina bar. So that's all you really need. And there are some punches that are gonna take a big chunk out of you. Like I just took a big chunk out of him right there, and he did the same with a very good hook. So like some punches and some kicks are gonna take a huge chunk out of that bar. So you have to really learn how to recognize which punches are gonna do the most damage. As you can see, I took a huge chunk out of his health bar right there. And yeah, it was a very close fight, very close fight. I'm just loving this game, especially knockout mode. I really don't care about the regular version that much with the submissions. I think this is the best mode. So as you can see, there's a very amicable communication here. Nice, good fight, close one. Add me, definitely adding this guy. I like the way he's fighting. We're both obviously very new at the game. We're just learning how to play, as you can see, but we're having fun, and that's all that matters, We're learning and evolving. So I'm gonna definitely be looking out for this guy again, so I can play some more games with him. This fight was very good. I learned a lot of lessons from the Cormier fight, and I felt that some things I did perhaps a little too predictable. And it's the fun thing about fighting, be it in a video game or in an actual fight. The science of fighting is all about adapting and learning how to change the way you fight so you can do something better next time. Now, this time he almost had me. Look at this. Right now I make a comeback that I didn't really expect. He's almost got me right here. Oh, I'm done. I thought I was done for sure at this point, but I managed to turn the tables, and there it is. Great match. So it's a good fight. He said, wow. Like I said, the communication system in this game is very simple, but it's all you really need. So obviously he took the first one, I took the second one, and we were definitely gonna do a rematch for this. For the rematch, I still went with Liddell, and he switched to Anthony Johnson. Johnson's a powerhouse, so it's all about staying away from his kicks and his punches as much as you can. And now for this one, the system switched back to the UFC. So, like I said, it's gonna be a random thing. Sometimes you're gonna go to a UFC arena, sometimes you're gonna go to Kumite, sometimes you're gonna go to the backyard. Either way, it's always the same knockout rules with the health bar, so it doesn't matter. At this point, I was getting a bit more of a feel for the way that this guy played. Feeling a little more comfortable with knowing when he was gonna strike, knowing when he was planning to try to counter me. But it was still kind of unpredictable because he was switching up his style, and his strategies. So it was really fun. We started doing the midsection a lot more because we knew that we were going to try to block the highs. Obviously, that's when you mix it up, and they're expecting the low like he did right there. I did the same, but we were both expecting those highs now because we just did a bunch of lows and a bunch of mids. So mixing it up it's what it's all about in this kind of game. And this fight was a little more, I would say, a little less frantic. We both tried to play with a little more technique instead of just burning out. And but when you have your opponent like this, you just go for the kill. Just try your best to go for the kill. And that's what I was doing. There you go. That's the thing with this mode. It doesn't matter if you're landing a relatively soft kick or a kick that goes to the midsection while the opponent's guarding it. If there's no health bar left, anything you do that hits them and they're not guarding that in that particular area is gonna create a knockout. So the problem with this fight is that we started having lag, and the fight reset, and it started lagging again, and then it reset again, and it kept on lagging. So obviously there was a problem with the connection at this point. I'm just gonna say to this guy, great fights, awesome fights, definitely gonna add you. And everyone should definitely try out this mode. It's probably the best one, especially if you're the type of player that likes Street Fighter games and MK games and games that have health bars. I think it really takes the UFC game to a whole different level. It's not realistic, obviously, because the reason why there are no health bars in the UFC games is because it is a more realistic thing not to know which of your punches or which of your kicks is going to actually knock your opponent out, which is what happens in real life. But with that said, this is a video game, and if you are a person that enjoys fighting games, like old school fighting games with health bars, and even modern fighting games with health bars that are the most common, then this mode is going to be perfect for you, and it is for me. So aside from this issue with the internet, which was probably just a problem with the connection for whatever reason, the fighting was very smooth in general. I mean, I can't complain. I think this game is definitely the best UFC game that has come out. Perhaps it's not the most realistic and technical if you go for the knockout mode, but it's the most fun. That's what I can say. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe if you like the content, and I will see you in the next one.